It's Momo Monday, and Momo is here. Momo, yes. You know what to do. Breathe in and out. And breathe in and out. Momo doesn't like having his face blown in, right? Momo's in a good mood because I've been doing a lot of sitting and typing lately. So Momo has had lots of snuggle time, right, Momo? Yeah, and you'll see why I'm wearing the headset mic. I'm actually testing this out for sound quality because my buddy Rich at Review Tech USA sent these to me, insisting he is evangelizing the MSI D7502 headset. I will post a link to these because so far, the audio quality on them has been pretty great. They send you this software driver. All it does is add a volume control app onto your computer, so you don't really need them. I don't have them on this machine. You can do it all through Windows or OBS or whatever it is you use to get the levels and everything like that. But he swore by the microphone, so I'm giving it a try. The buckets, the cans look huge on me though, but I like the glowing things on the sides because it's like hell coming out of my brain, and I am literally the devil. So there's going to be a big announcement tomorrow. Before we get into the topic at hand, you can look at Momo being adorable. Tata's Tuesday will be live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Big announcement tomorrow that is Tata's Tuesday appropriate. I'm really excited about it. And this is what I want to talk about today, is how to be excited about things instead of being trepidatious, right? Like Momo right now is really excited because I'm not putting a Santa hat on him, right, Momo? You were really good about that. Yeah, my fluffer. But it is a skill. One of the things I feel like really gets missed with the whole discussion of mental health, which is what Momo Mondays are all about, is this idea that you can make conscious choices that help. It is not something that you either are born with the right chemicals to be happy and prosperous, or you lost the genetic lottery. There is an element of that, obviously, for some people, and some people do need those medications, and they help them a lot. I know people who are, everything's great, and they are totally functional. Oh, if they have their meds, if they don't, it's not good, and they can't help it. There's no self-talk or anything like that will get them out of it. I'm gonna put Momo down now and switch over to kitten videos. I'll go into the corner now so you guys can see the adorableness from the week, mostly featuring Zelda going bananas. This cat defies gravity. The whole sort of trick to staying motivated about things is to ongoing make the journey something inherently enjoyable instead of being something that it's all about the outcome. If the outcome is what's going to make everything either worth it or not worth it, it's not going to feel like a very positive experience one way or the other. And that's something that results-oriented people like myself need help understanding. And it's great to be a results-oriented person. It makes you a very effective member of a team. It can also make you a really miserable person to be around. I'm saying this about myself. This is not throwing shade. This is a little bit of self-awareness happening right now. And my Pac-Man thing is missing. It's been missing me for a few days because I used it for the thing that's debuting Tuesday, but I'm going to put it back. I will make it look pretty now, but this is to remind that I want that back. Because Pac-Man is a very special game to me, so I always want that to be there. We'll have, King Bob playing Pac-Man. Here we go. Here we go. See, this is one of the things I do to stay sane, and this is why I have the headset mic on so I can do stuff like that. Like, there we go. King Bob. King Bob's like me when I was 3. He can't reach the thing. He needs somebody to help lift him up. This was me at the age of 3 when I called Pac-Man Bucka Bucka. I couldn't reach the control stick on the coin-op cabinet, the upright cabinet. So I love those tabletop ones. Oh man, so as a kid I could put my own quarter in and then I could play on the top because there was a seat. And a couple of arcades actually had stools for people. So those were great. But things like this keep me motivated. Things like this allow me to have fun with the experience of actually doing the work. It is so important to enjoy the process because the process is what you can control. The outcomes are things that you can do your best to have a good outcome, but you can have the absolute perfect project and it's too ahead of its time, or it's a little too behind, or I mean, the thing I'm announcing on tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. I was originally intending to do it in October, and then it was going to be February, and now it was going to be April. Oh, it's the first thing that has been this hard to get launched that I have ever worked on that I stuck with and didn't realize it was diminishing returns. Because first of all, I believe in it. Second of all, the process there were some really tough moments, but the process is something that I felt was inherently worthwhile. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to feel really stupid if this doesn't work. I felt like the journey was worthwhile. The research required was worthwhile. The questions asked were worthwhile. The skills I had to teach myself in the process were worthwhile. And that's what things have got to be like to stay motivated. And this is a lot of the time what's lacking in things, especially in things like game dev and media production and things like that. They tend to be quite solitary endeavors. So I do better than most in sort of isolated projects, but still every so often I need human contact that isn't a battle. And that's the other element of staying motivated that I think is super important, is that every connection, every experience you have with other people in the process of getting something done can't be a battle. It can't be a criticism. It's very important to learn how to make criticism productive. Now, that is something different than accepting criticism. And that is something different than knowing how to handle criticism. Because a lot of people say, oh, don't let it get to you. Well, then you're not absorbing it. It's deflecting off you. It's not making you better if you're just ignoring criticism. The big struggle, the hard thing, but the most productive thing is knowing which criticism to listen to and which criticism to not ignore, but channel. There were a couple things in the project that is being announced tomorrow where too many people commented on the same thing for me to ignore the criticism. However, I felt like taking a component out wasn't the way to go. Contextualizing the component in a different way was the way to go. And this is what I think goes wrong in a lot of game franchises, where something ends up being really great for a while and then suddenly shits the bed. Because they listen to their critics but implement the criticism in the wrong ways. And getting better is something I think every game studio wants to do. Every content creator wants to do. Every person who cares about the quality of their product wants to do. But figuring out what's better instead of different can be a huge challenge. And the only way you can do that effectively is by knowing what your strengths are. And if all you do is encounter critics and naysayers, there's absolutely no way you can effectively value your strengths. And the first key to any of these good things we talk about on Momo Mondays, be it self-esteem or happiness or, mental equilibrium or emotional stability or all this stuff, is valuing what makes you good. Or this is a quality you really like about yourself and you don't want it, you're happy with this element of yourself. If you don't have those things that anchor how you change in response to the things you want to change, it's very hard to get positive progress. Being more assured of your strengths makes you better able to listen to criticism. It doesn't hurt nearly as much when you're like, all right, you're right, I do suck at that. I'm really great at this other thing. So how can we make this less in the realm of the thing I suck at and more in the realm of the thing I'm good at? And that's the other thing. In order for people to see value in your product, you have to see value in your product. And by product, I can mean yourself as much as anything else. And that's really hard when you're in something like a job search or you're applying to universities, because unlike, that's why the rich get ahead so much, because the rich are like, well, if this deal doesn't happen, I'm still rich. So they can be prepared to walk away. They're negotiating from a position of strength because they don't need the deal. You have to find a way to kind of like fake the headspace of, oh, I don't really need this. And, I've seen this based on being a recipient of upward mobility. So I went from, nothing. Like, I saw from that and how people face challenges. And what I saw a lot of was the minute you get resistance, quit, give up, go home, because you're making a fool out of yourself. You're not supposed to be here. You're getting uppity. You don't realize your place. I saw that over and over and over again with members of my family. Whereas if you get more and more and more up the ladder, you do meetings with these millionaires, these billionaires, these investors, and you see the same thing they're all playing it cool. They all make sure they sit back, way back. And I mean, women can't do that, right? Because if you do that, you're shoving your boobs in someone's face. I'm a chill, laid back CEO, with the leg up. I can't show that. Yeah, you got the leg up and you're going so chill. And you're like, whatevs. And you got the sunglasses and you're down like that. I'm doing that. I'm showing off my boobs and I'm showing off my crotch. Even when it comes to business, I had to figure out how to sit so I looked relaxed. And so what I ended up kind of doing is sitting sideways. Like you see me now, I sit on my heel, like whatever. That's not placed, but it is placed. It stops me from fidgeting. If it happens, it happens. Great. If it doesn't, next deal. That's what you see with rich people. And that chill, that mindset of I don't need this. I would like it, but I don't need it, is really a big key to ongoing success. But how do you do that when you actually do need it? It's a big part of success, a big part of mental health is a form of fake it till you make it, where you're actually retraining yourself regarding how you address situations. And easier said than done. You have to keep trying and you're going to fail. And that's the other thing, is we exist in a society where you gotta be a millionaire at 28, which doesn't give you a hell of a lot of time to try something and screw up and try something and screw up and try something and screw up and then finally try something and get it right. But you see a lot of those .com millionaires now, the Facebooks, the PayPals, the stuff, and you see a guy like Elon Musk who stayed engaged with other people. He has adapted to the Trump era without batting an eye. All these other .com millionaires, other than Peter Thiel, who happened to back the right horse, are like, oh my God, what do we do? I have to go on a listening tour because I don't understand. But they're rich enough that they can take a hiatus from their careers to go listen to people. Because again, What happens if these guys fail at their listening tours? Will they go and they cry into their money? That's not the reality of most people. And I think that's the big disconnect. How do you not care when you care? How do you pretend that you don't need something when you need something? And the only thing I've been able to come up with is you need a particular outcome. But the thing that life experience and wisdom teaches you is there are often paths you don't see until all the other paths have been closed to you. And so it's more a game of, well, I would really like to go in a straight line here. But if I can't go in a straight line, there is an indirect route. And then figuring out what your goal is and really making sure you know the important element to you in any given thing is super important as well, because a lot of people think, oh, I'll make $1 million and I'll be happy. And so they think their goal is making $1 million, but really their goal is happiness and security. And as you get older, the reason some people lose a lot of that hunger for business success is they realize that money actually doesn't make them happy. Other things do. And so you might not be able to control making $1 million. And even $1 million isn't that much money right now. That's the crazy thing. It's the Austin Powers joke, right? But happiness is possible. Now, what happiness looks like to you is only something you can decide. But it is possible, as long as you realize that your ultimate goal is that. It's that state of mind. It's not necessarily the in-between steps you think you need to get there. I mean, when I was younger, I knew I wanted to do something that was more about quality of life than quantity of life. You know, I wanted to be there for the people that life has been tough to, because I can relate to that. And I know how much, and it was mostly video games for me, because video games tend to start with, you know, somebody who's relatively powerless, and then you gain power as you go along. I can't stand these shows about rich people arguing with rich people over rich people problems. I can't relate to any of it. And I don't want to. It's all like, you're terrible people. And I never want to get to the point where I don't recognize that these people are terrible people, you know? But with video games, it was like Link was this big back in the day, and Mario was this big back in the day. And that was a story that I could go, okay, I'm only this big at this point in my life too. But I am doing the story of a little guy who kicked ass, right? Guy being a gender neutral term. And so I decided I want to do that. Now, there were a lot of doors closed to me based on how I could do that. And so I bumbled around for a long time until I finally found YouTube. And here I am. And it's still building. I'm not a huge hit yet, but it's building. It's going in the right direction. And I see the positive impacts I'm having on the people who write me and respond to me and comment and do all that stuff. And that's what I wanted. That makes me happy. Giving back in that way, feeling like I'm doing something useful in that way. Because to me, it's very important to be useful. For other people, again, results-driven person. So I figured out the kind of results I wanted to achieve and achieve those results. I didn't box myself in by how I was going to achieve those results. And I think that is the path to a good emotional outlook, personal resilience, and at the end of the day, happiness. Although happiness is a really complex concept that I think people think, oh, I want to be happy. Well, what does that mean? Because happiness means nothing. Happiness without occasional setbacks, occasional sadness, occasional anger is just boredom. You need those negatives to really appreciate, you know, when things are going good. So that's your Momo Monday for the day. Please tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's what, 8 Pacific? Ooh, boost. Okay, ready, Momo? Yeah. Breathe in. And out. And breathe in. And out. Yeah, sorry, I blew in your ear. Yeah. My momos. Yeah. Can you guys hear him grunting? Momo's happy grunts? Yeah, what is it? Oh, it's a red light. It's like a giant laser pointer. And Momo doesn't care about laser pointers at all.